Welcome to our channel, and more importantly, welcome to another free stock market breakdown video that we release every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In these breakdowns, we will cover the latest news developments that will affect the market, as well as break down the broad market and other instruments for opportunities that may be brewing this upcoming week. Remember to drop a thumbs up on this video and subscribe to our channel if you like the content. Also remember to turn on your channel notifications so you are notified every time we upload a video. Follow us on social media to keep up with our educational content and so you never miss any important market news. All important links to our channels are in the description below, so let's get right into it. Looking back at last week's news, definitely the top story was that Pfizer has finally applied for an FDA emergency use authorization for their new vaccine. So a couple of weeks ago, we found out that they had done trials and realized that their vaccine was quite effective, and last week those trials concluded and they immediately submitted for that emergency use authorization. Now, if that authorization was to become granted by the FDA, it would not give full authorization for the vaccine. However, it would allow certain vulnerable individuals to have access to it. Now, the markets didn't really react to this news, mainly because I think that this inevitability was already priced in, but it is still positive news going forward, and how quickly they can get that emergency use authorization approved is definitely going to be telling on how effective the distribution will be. Staying on topic with regards to vaccine news, Moderna has also come out last week and produced pretty good results with their vaccine with around the same effectiveness as Pfizer's one. So they're the second company within the past 2 weeks to release data on their vaccine showing to be quite effective. And they also plan to submit an emergency use authorization to the FDA within the coming weeks. So it is quite probable that before the end of the year, we could have 2 or more vaccines with emergency use authorizations and ready for distribution. But I wouldn't hold my breath, mainly because we have to see how fast the FDA gets around to meeting about authorizing these vaccinations. But definitely something to take into consideration going forward when looking at the markets. And coming off of the positive vaccine news, I move on to the third story that we're going to cover in this video, which is a little bit more of negative news. And that is that Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin has not renewed some of the federal emergency lending programs to the Main Street companies, and that is going to severely impact the economy going forward. So both the Federal Reserve Chairman as well as the incoming administration, i.e. Joe Biden's administration, have all agreed that there is a lot of need for credit to flow within the economy. So by not renewing these lending facilities is definitely going to put more strain on businesses and possibly lead to more business closures, which would definitely hurt the economic recovery. But these lending facilities are due to expire around the end of the year, and there is a possibility that once Biden is sworn in, whoever his appointee to the Treasury Secretary post will immediately reinstate these programs. But this is definitely something to pay attention to going forward, and just keep an eye out of any news stories that may come out giving more information regarding the status of these lending programs. Moving across to our charts and taking a look at the S&P 500, we can clearly see that over the past week, there was not a lot of action in the markets. The markets essentially moved sideways and didn't do too much. But what I have done is highlighted some potential scenarios that could enter next week for both an upside and a downside move. So if I drop down to the 1 hour chart, we can see that right now we formed a bit of a range and that we could be bouncing up and down in this range until there's finally a breakout. So as you can see by my solid black arrow here, I'm definitely expecting a move back down to this support level. And this is mainly because of the mixed news that I just explained with the positive vaccine news, as well as the termination of the lending programs that's going on. I definitely think that the market is at an indecision point right now, and usually that forms range bound price action similar to what we've seen over the past 2 weeks. Now, any breakout, say for example like this dash line, will be followed by a break and a close, a retest of that level, and then a push down if it does go to the downside, and the same thing could occur on the upside. But it is important not to take any long-term, either long positions or short positions, until these breakouts are confirmed. But if you are someone who likes to trade ranges, then this is perfect price action for you to do so until we get the breakout. Now moving across the Atlantic, I'm going to cover the FTSE 100. Now, even though we haven't covered any news related to the UK or European markets, I see a potential idea brewing in this instrument. So after we had this monumental move up, starting at the end of October, we've seen some weakness step into this instrument over the past week and a half. So usually with weakness comes some form of breakdown in price, and that's supported by the fact that we haven't had a retest of this yellow zone, which is what I was expecting if we are to continue to move even higher in this instrument. So this trade idea allows us to take advantage of this breakdown in price as we get this weakness step into the market. What I'll be waiting for is a break below the 6,260 level, a retest of that level, and then a push back down to around the 6,130 level. But it's important that we only take this trade once we have a confirmed 4-hour break and close. So we have to wait for the candlestick to close below this zone in order to take the retest move down. If price action falls down here but then closes above this zone, we will not take the trade because that's not full confirmation of a break below this support level. So that's what I wanted to cover regarding this instrument, because that is definitely an idea that I am taking a look at for this upcoming week. And for you guys that like to trade currency instruments, I'm going to cover the USD Canadian dollar because I see a potential trade idea brewing in this instrument. Now there's a lot more technical analysis that I've had to do because the USD Canadian dollar is a very volatile pair, because of course the Canadian dollar is a commodity dependent currency. So what that means is that its strength or weakness is tied to a commodity, and in this case that commodity is the price of oil. So as oil prices rise, the Canadian dollar generally gains some strength and consequently puts downside pressure on this pair. So if that occurs, as you can see, we've been trading in somewhat of a channel over the past week, and any downside move below this green support will give us an entry opportunity to take a trade with around a 3.1 risk to reward ratio. So what that would entail is a break and close and then a retest of that support level, and we'd be taking the trade down to around 1.2979 in this pair. I'd definitely be taking profits off the table around the 1.3 level just because it's a big even and there's some minor support around this level. So that's for you guys that like to trade currencies, and I've also been told that I should do a little bit more currencies. So in my video next week, I'll be breaking down a couple more of these just so you guys can see exactly how I break down and find trading opportunities in currency pairs. And the last instrument that I'm going to cover is Bitcoin. And I couldn't help myself just because of the monumental gain in price Bitcoin has experienced over the past month or so. It's really hard for me to ignore. So as you can see, I've highlighted a lot of support areas that Bitcoin has broke quite easily. But with any monumental price action, I'm a firm believer that there will be a pullback at some point in time. So if you see here in the area that price is currently trading at, we have just broken quite a significant daily support. And I believe, based upon Bitcoin's price history, every time we break a massive daily support, we get some form of major retest of that level before we head higher. So I think that this time is going to be no different. And because price has stalled around the $19,000 level, I'll definitely be watching it over the next couple of days, because if you do trade cryptocurrencies, personally I don't, then I think that there will be a trading opportunity that will open up if price was to break back below this support zone. And what that trade idea would look like is that you would wait for it to break back below, retest around the 18,307 level, and push back down to around the $17,000 level. So I just definitely wanted to cover something in Bitcoin just because of the crazy price action that we've seen over the past couple of months. Now with that being said, this concludes our market breakdown for this week. Thank you to all who took the time out to watch this video, whether it be in part of it or the entirety of it. Remember, I post these videos on a weekly basis, so subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out anytime we upload a video. I also post educational content throughout the week that is suitable for both beginner and experienced traders. I also regularly post to our social media channels, and the links to those are in the description below. Also, if you found this video useful, support us by dropping a like on the video so the YouTube algorithm helps us reach more people. Thanks and peace out.